Thank you for joining us for the Springfield Business and Economic Review. I'm your host, Sarah Wolin, with the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce. And today I have with us guests from the Prairie Capital Convention Center. We have both Brian Oakes and Joe Saputo. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us here.
Glad to be here.
Brian, tell me a little bit about what you do at the Convention Center.
I'm the recently appointed general manager.
Okay, so that means you manage it all.
Yeah, I manage it all. So that entails a little bit of everything. I actually started at the convention center about 5 years ago, and I was the box office manager for a couple of years and handled all of the ticketing and things for concerts like that. I then moved to the director of operations position for about 2.5 years. And that's kind of one of those catch-all positions as well. You get to learn, pretty much every aspect of the building, from concessions, our maintenance and changeover staffs, the box office, marketing and sales, and then just recently became general manager.
Well, congratulations on that. And it sounds like you have a wealth of experience then from many different aspects of the center. So that's great.
Thank you very much.
And Joe, how about you? What do you do out at the center?
I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing.
Okay.
Been there a year last mid-September, 07. And I came from a 30-year career with the Department of Agriculture. I retired in 02 with the early out. I managed the Illinois State Fair for 4 years and worked for an engineering company in marketing. And when a need arose there at the center for someone to come in and try to help with new business and marketing various events, I was happy to apply and receive the position.
Sounds like it was a great match for you.
I think it is. I've been out of touch a little bit because of my retirement gap there, but it didn't take long to
I was going to say, you didn't stay retired long.
Right.
Well, Brian, tell me a little bit about, a lot of people might drive by the Prairie Capital Convention Center or hear about it, but tell me a little bit about what it is and what goes on there.
Wide variety of things that happen at the convention center. We have a 44,000 square foot main hall. That's where exhibits take place, trade shows, a lot of our larger conventions, food shows. We also have a 20,000 square foot lower level that's divided into 16 different meeting rooms. And a lot of people, I think, don't know that we have those meeting rooms. We host a variety of different events, Horace Mann, several other large firms in town that use those meeting rooms, as well as a lot of the conventions will host breakout sessions down in that lower level. So that just gives you an idea of the size of the building. It's a large space. We have every year, we have a lot of basketball events. It's a great venue for sports. The past couple of years we've had an indoor football team. Wow. Trade shows, we have the home show every year. We have a state cheerleading competition. Conferences
sounds like quite
ranging,
a variety.
Yeah, it really is a variety of different events that go on there. So it's really hard to explain everything that happens, and because a lot of the people that come to those events are from out of town or sometimes out of state, sometimes the people here in the city don't actually realize how much goes on at the convention center.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know one event that the chamber hosts there is Business Connections, which you mentioned trade shows. That's our annual trade show we do. And we use that main area. But we've also had some breakout sessions in past years in those downstairs rooms. It really does give you an opportunity to have smaller meeting spaces and be able to discuss things. So you're right, it's a hidden gem from some people.
Yeah. And then, of course, we also, look for talent on a national level to try and bring in concerts. The Ansar Shrine Circus, which comes every year, the Ringling Brothers Circus, which has been here in past, Disney on Ice. So we're always looking for those family-type shows and also concerts to bring in whenever we can.
Yeah, and last year you had the big Blue Man group. That was a big one that I know a lot of folks were excited about. So those are the national type ones. Those are ones that you guys actually go out and bring here, correct?
We're typically doing it a couple different ways.
Okay.
One way is that we sometimes do an in-house promotion. We did that with Casting Crowns in October, which is the #1 Christian rock group in the country. In a situation like that, we actually purchase the talent and make a contract with the artist. We handle the marketing, the ticket sales, and ultimately we have then a profit or loss off of that show. The other thing that we do probably more often is we try to build relationships with other promoters, whether they're local or national promoters. We do some events where we meet them every year and just try to build a relationship, and sometimes then they are the ones who actually form the contracts with the artist. We simply rent them the facility, and in that situation there is no risk for us in terms of profit or loss.
Well, great. Joe, tell me a little bit. You said sales and marketing. What type of things are you selling and marketing?
Well, we're selling our space, and we work closely with the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the 2 hotels, the Hilton and the President Abraham Lincoln.
That are really right next door to you.
It's a great benefit to us to have the hotels there because of most large events have overnight stays, and we're so close, and in the wintertime, January through March are very busy for us. So my role is new business. I'm the first person that they talk to at the center. We talk on their needs, their space needs, issues with food, issues with exhibiting space, whether they want to bring in large vehicles, things like that, sporting events. It's just a wide variety, and we're very, very busy there. I mean, for every show we get, we might talk to 30 people that we don't get. But you have to do that in order to get that one show. And believe it or not, I mean, we're booked in some throughout 2013 and
oh my
higher.
Goodness.
So people that are in this sort of business, the meeting planners throughout the United States and even in the state, are thinking ahead because they know it's important to their, especially like associations, which were large in Springfield, to get that specific date for their group.
Right. I consider myself an obsessive planner, but that takes it to a whole new level, planning out that many years in advance.
Yes.
You talked about talking to a number of firms and then, or businesses or organizations, and then getting a couple of ones that actually sign. How do you make those initial contacts? Are you going out to shows? Are people calling you? How do you start that dialogue?
Most of them come to us, either on their own or through the Convention and Visitors Bureau or through the hotels. We have started an initiative on our own to do some things, but we're so busy with the groups wanting to come to Springfield now with the new library here. A lot of them that haven't been here for a while want to come back, the museum, the President Abraham Lincoln. But the majority of it, we receive a lot of assistance through the leads brought forth by the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and they open that up to the whole city, not just us. So people have the right to bid on those, and I think it's a good mix there, and it gives people a chance to see just what fits their needs. And downtown Springfield is becoming more viable, more interesting, more things to do, great restaurants, so we're an advantage being downtown.
You know, you mentioned there how you work in collaboration and the importance of all, having the hotels downtown and the other amenities, the museum and stuff. So, Brian, this really is playing on the whole community as a selling point, per se, for groups that want to come to the convention center. Anything to comment about that?
Well, absolutely. We want to be part of, that city as a whole sales package. And when people are, looking at booking the convention center, they're looking at more than just our space. They're looking at the hotels that we have to offer. They're looking at some of the other entertainment things that we have to offer. And I think downtown Springfield as a whole has had a renaissance period here lately, and it's something that's definitely benefited the convention center.
It really has, because now you can go, there's a lot of places to go out to eat, there's a lot of nightlife, there's a lot of shopping. It really has become just a great place to hang out at, and for a lot of those travelers coming from out of town, they can easily walk around to those places, so that's wonderful. It can be a little intimidating, I guess. You see the big convention center outside. If someone was interested in learning more, can they come in and check it out? If there's nothing going on, how does that work?
Sure, anytime. Our offices are open during, pretty much normal work hours, and then obviously we're open during all event hours as well. We also have a website, which is www.springfieldpccc.com. There's some information on there, and there's also an email us area where you can contact us if you have any specific questions. I think part of what we want to do is to try and make the convention center more friendly to the residents of the city. One of the ideas that we're looking at right now is the idea of trying to make it a Wi-Fi hotspot, so that if people need an area to check their email, or if they're downtown and they want to have an area to get on a computer, they could come by the convention center, even if they're not necessarily coming for a concert. It's just a way to integrate us more into the city and make people know make people more aware of what we have to offer.
Right. You really did touch on a point there about the importance of a convention center to a city. I think a lot of people might drive by it and take it for granted that it's there, but it really is an amenity that all communities don't have. Can you talk to me a little bit about that and the importance of it in regards to the city?
Sure. A lot of convention centers were built with some federal or state grants because I think the cities realized that they were an economic driver for travel and tourism. And what we pretty much did is, we were formed in order to bring those tourism dollars to Springfield. When we book a convention, it might be a couple thousand people. And when those people come to the city, they may fly in on our airplanes, they may drive in and buy gas here in our city. They typically stay in hotel rooms, which brings commerce that way.
You gotta eat.
They eat at our restaurants, they shop at our stores. I mean, it's really kind of a wide range of ways that they bring in money to the city, and then ultimately that money trickles down into other areas. Somebody who maybe is a bartender downtown might make a certain amount on a night when there's no event at the convention center, but might make twice that much when there is an event at the convention center and the business is more full. Ultimately, that money filters down into other areas of the community.
And then the sales tax dollars, even from some of those sales from them going out shopping. I mean, those come back and only support our community from outside sources, so that's great.
Yeah, it's really hard to actually put a number on, how much economic impact there is, right? It really spreads out. And I think last year we did 250 event days at the convention center.
Wow.
Just to give you an idea.
Do you guys sleep?
Now and again.
Well, that sounds great. I know one thing I've heard a lot about lately is the opportunity for businesses or associations here in Springfield who are interested in hosting their colleagues for a convention or something here in town. If someone's interested in that, how can they go about that, Joe? Can they call you if they're interested?
Call our general office number and ask for myself.
And what's that number?
It's area code 217-788-8800.
Okay.
And we immediately go to the calendar with them, look at the dates. If they're interested, they can hold a date at no cost. We call that a tentative hold.
Okay.
And they have first right of refusal. So if someone's looking but not sure exactly if they want to do this, it's wise, especially for a large group, to lock in a date with us, and then they can go out and maybe meet with a committee or whatever they need to discuss prices and things like that.
And see if it's even open on that day.
Correct.
Because as you mentioned, with being booked so far out in advance, the earlier someone calls, the better for getting it reserved.
The good thing about our facility is, we can have an event going on in the main hall, but also do up to 16 meetings in our lower level. So we're getting most people are aware of the main hall, but like Brian said, the lower level is really a hidden secret. I think early on, we're almost 30 years old there at the center. Early on, people knew of it, but now I think the younger executives in town and the younger business people really don't know it's there, and that's our next charge is to do that. And our prices are very reasonable there.
What are some of the different types of meetings or events you've seen held downstairs in those lower rooms?
We've had a wide variety, a lot of business, a lot of educators, health-oriented. We even have flu shots administered there. We have 17 meetings coming up with election judge training. So it's a wide variety. We have the Illinois Grape Growers and Vintners Association will have their convention and trade show in our lower level. We have a 9,100 square foot ballroom that can be turned into exhibit space. We can seat up to 700 people in a banquet setting in our lower level.
Wow.
So we have a lot of variety down there. A lot of meals and meetings are tied together, which people like to do. We can either separate the rooms to where they can have their lunch in one room and have their meetings in the other, or like Brian said, we can do breakout rooms. So it's very versatile.
I love all the options because you're right. Sometimes I go to a meeting and I want my food out with me, and other times it's easier to have in a social room and then meetings and separate. So it's great that you guys are able to meet all those needs for folks.
Yes.
So that sounds wonderful. You talked a lot there about the capacity downstairs. How about the capacity upstairs? Can either of you comment on that?
Sure. Our capacity upstairs for sporting events like a basketball game or football game is around 8,000 to 8,500. Our concerts at our really maximum point is probably around 7,500.
Okay.
And we also have a nice curtain system, so we can actually make the main hall smaller if we are having a show that we expect is only going to draw 3,000 to 4,000 people.
Okay.
We can curtain off the main hall and move
So
the
it
stage
still looks
forward.
full
Yeah, it still
then.
looks full and it feels full. You've probably been to a concert before where it's 7,000 seats and only 2,000 people. It does sometimes feels empty, and we like to try and bring that in a little bit.
I think that sounds great.
I think we can also host about 220 exhibit booths for trade shows on the main hall. We have a variety of other events up there like the monster trucks and arena cross that
It's just
120
I was gonna say,
truckloads of
it just
dirt.
always amazes me how one day you can have a monster truck racing with all the dirt down there, and another time I'll go and, like you said, there's a Robert Morris College basketball game there. Logistically, how does this work? Who cleans that up? Is that you guys that make those stage changes like that, or the people coming in? How does this work?
We have a great staff, and the people
Okay.
who are coming in pretty much tell us what their needs are.
Okay.
And then by the time they arrive at the building for their event, those needs should be met. So
Wow.
we have a great maintenance and setup staff that works very hard, especially on a turnover when we're going from something like Arena Cross that has 120 truckloads of dirt when it comes in. When they leave, they usually only take 118 truckloads of dirt with them. And maybe 2 or 3 days later, we might have another nice event on the main hall that has carpeting and all those kinds of things. So
Yeah.
our staff works really hard, and they do a great job making sure that our clients' needs are taken care of. So we've got to give them a lot of kudos.
Kudos for them. And also, I think one thing that's important is that those staff are there to help, as you said, the customers or the clients, because I think a lot of people, it's mind-boggling how they can go about scheduling an event there, and it's so big, what do I do? But they don't have to do anything. They just call, right?
Yeah.
You
Well,
take care of it.
And after they've talked with Joe Zaputo and we get them actually booked into a contract, they're assigned an event coordinator.
Oh, great.
Who we'll have at the building that works with them pretty much through every step of the way. Our event coordinators are trained and know the resources of the city if people need to rent certain things or if they need phone lines or internet access. The event coordinators take care of all that, and then that information is disseminated from the event coordinator down to the rest of our staff to make sure that everything's ready when they get there.
That's great. I mean, what a resource to have there. And it really helps people, as they're trying to help bring more tourists or more visitors to our town by hosting a local convention or association meeting here.
Yeah, and we certainly feel that word of mouth is a great form of advertisement. We hope that with the associations that are in town, that if we can take care of them and they have a good conference, that they're going to tell some of their other associations, hey, we loved working with the Prairie Capital Convention Center.
Well, that sounds great. Now, Joe, he mentioned people would call you. So they call you. Walk me through a couple of the steps you would take someone through if they were interested in this.
Well, first we get the date that they're interested in, because if the date's not available, then it's not going to work. If we have a date available, we look at their needs. If it's the lower level, we want to find out how many people. If they have, say, 100 people, do we want it theater style or classroom style? Classroom takes a lot more room, so we have to put them in a bigger room. Those are the main issues, the seating. If it's going to be a meal, we talk about numbers there. That will take a bigger space. The President Abraham Lincoln Hotel has a contract for the food, so they work with the hotel on their food. Once either they can put it on a tentative hold or they can book it immediately. If they book it immediately, then there is a contractual agreement that has to be drawn up with all the stipulations of costs and possibly insurance issues and whatever it pertains to regulations to come to our facility. They're sent this agreement. Normally they have to pay a half deposit of the total rent. They sign it, get it back to us, and then, like Brian said, they're assigned an event coordinator. And that event coordinator works with them day to day, because a lot of people, that's their only event for the year, and they want to be sure that they get everything right.
Yeah, and a lot of times they might not even have the full time to dedicate it to it, which is why that event coordinators are so important to make the event successful.
And Brian and I do most of the tours, the site visits, and we feel it's very important, that first impression. We want them to know, we want them to be there, and we care about the importance of them putting on a good event. So we primarily do most of the site tours, and people like to see that the general manager is taking his time to come down and greet them and talk to them about their needs.
Yeah, it really does, Brian, speak to the importance that you place on having those folks come into the convention center. So thanks for doing that, because it really does help not only the convention center, but our entire community, as we talked about earlier.
Sure, and we're putting a specific importance on customer service and the way that we treat people. We have a saying around the convention center that we want to create the ultimate second experience. The first experience that people come in for is typically going to be that concert ticket that they're buying, or the convention that they're in town for. There's something specific that they're coming to Springfield for. But the second experience is what we really have control over, and that is, are our areas clean and well kept? Are people friendly? Is the food good at the concession stands and things like that? So we're working on a team effort. It really takes everybody at the whole center to be involved to really create that full second experience where people come excited about the show and they leave, feeling like they just had a great time.
Wow, what a team effort. How many staff do you guys have to make that possible?
It's, roughly 35 to 40 staff members, a mix of full and part-time. And then when you get into our event staff, it's, up to probably 50 or 60 more people that are there for concessions, ushers, security, those kind of things.
Taking care of all those things. One thing you mentioned earlier was the website, and I know there's a special feature on the website we wanted to talk about, an email club people can sign up for. Tell me a little bit about that.
That's something we just developed about, probably 8 or 9 months ago now. It's called Club PC3, and it's a free-to-join website email club, and what we're really trying to do with that is, again, promote within the city and make people aware of what's going on. We send out reminders on concerts and ticketed events that are coming up, and then also we try to work with promoters when they're bringing in their show to offer some kind of either a discount or a pre-sale opportunity to members of Club PC3, where they have an opportunity to buy tickets before the general public does. So it's very easy to sign up. All you do is plug in your email address and you're on our list.
Well, that's great, because I think one thing is, a lot of times there's so many great things going on and it's in your own backyard and you might not even know about it. And so signing up for this email club, and I'm in it. I don't get spammed or anything. I get my email when there's something I need to know about. You guys send it to me. And it really keeps you in the loop on what's going on in your backyard. So it's really a great opportunity.
Yeah, we really don't want to bother people with that email.
And you don't.
We don't send it out every week. We might send it out once a month or so to remind people, or when we're getting close to a big event, just to remind people that something's coming up. And then our other, our big announcement to announce that something is coming to Springfield. Usually the Club PC3 members are the first people to know.
I like being on the inside loop, so I like getting those emails. But again, to sign up, it's free, no cost,
no cost,
so no obligation or anything required.
Easy. So they can check that out on the website.
Well, that sounds great. What other information is available on the website? You mentioned earlier there's some information about the site, right?
There are some maps on the website, so if you have bought tickets potentially like on Ticketmaster.com or through the phone and you haven't been able to look at a map, you can look up a map. We're working with our web company right now to develop what's going to be called the View from Your Seat, where they've been coming to some of our events and taking pictures from every section in our building during an event. So hopefully here within a couple of months we're going to have that up on the website where you can actually roll over the section where you're going to be seated, and it will show you, what the stage is going to look like from your seat.
Technology has come so far.
Yeah, it sure has. There's also some of the information that Joe and I have talked about the different rooms that we have and the sizes, what we're capable of in terms of hosting meetings and things like that. And then also some of our technical information. If you're an event planner and you need some specific technical information, that's on the website as well.
And of course, all the contact information.
Contact information, directions to the convention center, parking, all those things are listed on there.
You know why you brought that up? We haven't even talked about that yet. For people who might not drive by the convention center every day, can you tell us a little bit about where it's located?
Sure. Downtown, we're in between 9th and 7th Street and Washington and Adams Street. Between our building and the President Abraham Lincoln Hotel, we take up a couple city blocks there. Pretty easily accessible from all parts of town.
It really is. And you guys have a great sign outside. It's brand new. So if people haven't seen it, they should drive down 9th Street. Isn't that where the sign is?
Yeah, on 9th Street. And that's less than a year old. I think it's been a great addition.
Oh, I love it.
A lot of people who've been around Springfield for a long time remember our old sign, which was not very nice. We had problems electronically with it and with the light bulbs. But our new sign, which we put in a year ago, has a full digital screen. It's like watching television.
It spruced up the corner. It really did.
It really did. And I think it's, makes people more aware again of what's coming to town. And we run on there, besides just our ticketed events, we also put on the conferences and conventions that are coming through town, just so that people have an idea what's going on at the convention center.
You're right, because I think a lot of people don't always know what's going on, because from the outside, there's no windows. You can't see inside and see all the people hustling and bustling in there. But there really are a great variety. So again, let's cover some of the different types of activities that go on in there. You have your meetings and conferences. What else can you recall, Joe? Some of the other main things?
We have the convention trade shows. We have our sporting events. We have our, we do auto shows there. We do trade shows. Two or three of the large food wholesalers in Springfield have annual shows there. We're doing the Taste of Home show, which is a national tour show that's going to second year here in Springfield. We have the world's largest office party. We have the Women's Expo, which is in its second year, which is something that we've created along with WNNS. Just about anything. We have a rodeo, the professional bull riders. We're willing to look at anything.
Just such a breadth of activities. I don't think people have a full concept of that, so I'm glad we were able to share some of those. What would you say the majority of them are? Are they the convention type things?
The majority would be conferences. The large conventions, probably maybe 2 a month, I would say. In our January, February, March time, there's probably more then. But a lot of meetings, seminars, workshops. So we're, more and more people are looking at us for the concerts. One thing about the concerts is coming to Springfield, we're out there trying to help sell tickets too. We don't rely just on the promoter to do that. We know that the more people we can get here, that's going to help show that Springfield's viable to come in and bring, bigger name entertainment. And we also make money off the concessions and things like that. It's a great service, and we appreciate all you guys do to help make this possible. And one more time, Brian, what's the website if someone wants more information? It's www.springfieldpccc.com. All right. Well, both of you guys, Brian, Joe, thanks so much for being here and sharing with us all the information. Thanks again for having us. Lots of great information about everything that goes on at the Convention Center and how it impacts our community. Great. And thank you for joining us today for the Springfield Business and Economic Review. Again, I'm your host, Sarah Wolin, and I hope you've enjoyed learning about the Prairie Capital Convention Center.